Uh, I was born and raised in Colby, Kansas. It's a small farming community in northwest Kansas. I actually lived on the farm. I was a farm kid until about the age of 14 when my parents bought a hotel in town and we all quit being farmers and they became businessmen in town. And in my family, out of 6 kids, 3 of us are gay or lesbian. So
Right.
when I came out, I was the youngest one to come out. I had a big leg up on that whole process of coming out.
Right.
So I left Colby when I was 19 and went to live with my oldest brother for a while in Arizona, and that's when I went to my first gay bar. And my sister lived here in Kansas City, and she broke her ankle
Oh.
and became unable to work. And I was sort of drifting at that point, and so I came to Kansas City to do remodeling construction with her. And my whole life really started being around being a gay man, and that was when the first rumblings had come out about this new gay plague, gay cancer, this new strange illness affecting homosexuals. And there's just no, I'm stuttering because I can't even think of words to describe what eventually happened, but it didn't happen right away. I would go to a bookstore and pick up all these gay publications from Boston and New York and San Francisco. I told you I'm an avid reader,
Right.
and I'm buying gay books. It was New Earth Bookstore on 39th Street,
Yeah.
just up the street from Sam and Sally's Fish and Chips. And so I'd been reading about ACT UP. I'd been reading about Larry Kramer and reading about all of these things that were going on the coasts. And when the story surfaced about this gentleman who worked at Circle K denied him insurance benefits for his disease.
Mm-hmm.
They said as I recall, the argument was it was a lifestyle choice. He got sick. He deserved to get sick because of his lifestyle choices, and therefore they were not responsible for covering his medical costs for that particular disease. Now, if one of their employees was a smoker and got lung cancer, that was covered. And so I was appalled. I was pissed off. I was thinking if this happened anywhere else, these notorious people from New York or San Francisco would be on them like stink on shit. And why aren't we? So I made this sandwich sign board, and I walked up and down the sidewalk in front of Circle K. I remember feeling good about what I'd done. Because when I got out of my vehicle and did this, I was scared shitless. Am I going to get shot? Am I going to get attacked? Am I going to get beat up? I mean, I had all these worst case scenarios in my head.
Right.
And after an hour, I probably wasn't there an hour, I'm guessing. Not really any attention. I didn't know how to deal with media. Nobody came and talked to me. It was just, nobody even knew it happened, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But it did. And that at about the same, there was a weekly paper called The Alternate News, and I put a classified ad saying, if you want to do something about this, let's meet at, and I found a place to meet, and let's get organized. And we did, and about a handful of gay men showed up as eager to do things as I was, and some more so, actually. I mean, we went boom, and we were out on the streets within 30 days. We went out, we had the bar nuns, they were called, and go out on Friday and Saturday nights, and we're shoving flyers under windshield wipers at every gay bar in town. And it was a lot of work, and it took, we recruited people, and then we'd all go party and drink afterwards was the reward for that.
Sure.
ACT UP New York targeted the FDA over approving getting drugs into bodies now is the chant.
Right.
So we did. There was an FDA office in downtown Kansas City. So the day that ACT UP was doing something in New York, we would organize a demonstration at the FDA here. So there was that kind of collaboration.
Okay.
But then we also had events that were strictly Kansas City based. We challenged the AIDS, what's called the AIDS Council. We were on the city council like crazy about getting a non-discrimination ordinance passed and funding available, trying to get funding for services available. Really, our purpose for doing the things we did was to focus the media lens on an issue until the target squirms. Telecheck could do whatever the hell they wanted, but once they had a dozen TV crews outside their office, their corporate doors,
Right.
They felt the heat. When the biggest event we pulled off was called Target City Hall, and that's the one that had the banner off of the observation deck. It was it's one you'll probably find a flyer that we were distributing that has this picture of City Hall with a big red bullseye on it. Really, when you think about it, rather definitely militant, if not militaristic. Because I think we had maybe a couple of things going on. An ordinance, an anti-discrimination ordinance, and then funding, which was actually being requested by a lot of the existing AIDS organizations. Already knew they knew they needed money, and they had requests. They just weren't getting as much as they needed. And so that was we could kind of just do a broad shot. And I think of that bullseye as more like a shotgun thing of they're not paying enough attention. They don't think we're real. They don't think we exist. They don't think we count. There's not enough of us to affect their elections. So we need to do something bold and hit them where it hurts. And that's, again, I wasn't here for the civil rights riots, or what I've heard them called, demonstrations. So I doubt if it compared. I think those are probably the only things that could compare to the demonstration that we mounted. A bunch of people who knew nothing about what we were doing. But that day after the council meeting, they knew we were there. Up until that point, ACT UP had been about making noise, creating a scene, making a spectacle, if you will, that would attract the media. The cameras could do something the cameras could not resist. Oh my God, ACT UP's gonna be. We gotta go. Send a crew. It was during one of the demonstrations that somebody who worked inside City Hall, who was sympathetic, kind of pulled me to the side and had a little talk with me and said, you'd get a lot more done if you knew how to work inside the system. They're ready, and there's nobody there to talk to them. And this was an insider, and it was the best. It was sort of like ding, ding, ding. This is how the Human Rights Ordinance Project came about. It was like, now we need to work the system, and ACT UP can't do that because their job is to kick ass. Now we need a group that's willing to kiss ass. We had to put together a presentation that we could pass out to the committee, and we went from being loud and noisy to being sitting in these like pews in a church or something, in a committee hearing room, and politely waiting until it's listening to people talk about widening this street or adding on to that building or doing this or doing that. And our turn comes up, and going in front of a microphone with these cameras, because these are all broadcast on the cable network.
Members of the Finance Committee, my name is Jon D Barnett. I'm a citizen of Kansas City, Missouri, a supporter of the Human Rights Ordinance Project, and I have to say I've never been prouder to say that I'm gay. The hundreds of calls and letters you've received this past week attest to the importance of this ordinance to the citizens you represent. What have the people who support this law told you? Have they shared their experiences of being thrown out of an apartment or losing their jobs? Did some of them share the pain and anguish of a family torn apart over the coming out of a gay person? What do those who oppose this ordinance say? Are any of them spiteful? Do any of them convey fear, ignorance, hate? If you vote today, and I truly hope you will, your vote will record whether or not you support the rights of human beings to live and work free of discrimination in Kansas City. I urge you to please pass this ordinance as is, out of committee today for the full council's consideration. Thank you.
So it went from street activism to, this is kind of how I see it anyway, to insider politicking. So I let go of ACT UP, and those who were affected with a positive diagnosis kept acting up, and it kept getting more sort of, I think, a little bit more out there with some of the stuff, and it did eventually fade out. Human Rights Ordinance Project came on, became this very respectable, all of a sudden gays were respectable, if not powerful yet. We weren't powerful yet, but we were respectable, and we could get meetings. The Greens were going to put a mayoral candidate, and somebody in the Greens said we should try to find an openly gay candidate, and I don't remember who and why I was asked, but I was asked to run, and the campaign really took my focus for, I thought it was months, but looking back, it looks like it was only a couple of months.
Right,
It
yeah,
felt
yeah.
like it. I mean, we raised $12,000, we opened a campaign office, I went to all these events, and wow, Linda May, David Weeda, myself, Kay Madden. I mean, I can look at the board of directors of the Human Rights Ordinance Project. The discussions with us, which were held in law offices and a little bit nicer meeting rooms than we had in ACT UP, was about what are we really wanting to accomplish with this. And that was real clear to me. It's like I would have served on the council if I'd gotten elected, but this was about affecting every seat on the council. This was about showing clout to the council members, because when we were trying to get these ordinances, there was all this fear about, if I do that, I'll never get reelected, or I'll have people on my back, and we needed to show them that we were a force to be reckoned with. We went into this thinking we need to figure out what district we control or we influence, and there were 6 candidates in my race. I color-coded the maps, or recolor-coded them by less than 5% of the vote, 10 to 15, 20 to 25, and so that he had this colorful representation of the entire city. And when the maps came back, it was like, our community there's a district line right through the middle of our voting block here. And so then the question came, do we try to get that moved so that we can control a district, or do we take advantage of the fact that we have influence in 2 different, so these became political conversations and strategies that we had never imagined or anticipated.
Right.
So, and of course it was easier to, what came out of it was we influenced all 6 council districts. The campaign made me feel extremely part of this community. It was the most validating, rewarding, ego-stroking thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. But since then, even now, I still feel like I'm outside looking in at my community because of what I think about AIDS now, and this whole issue of our accountability and responsibility for our own health and well-being, instead of blaming everything on a virus and looking for a little blue pill to solve all our problems. It's not that simple, folks.
Mm.
So I still feel like that's a difficult thing to understand and a difficult thing to communicate. Back then, it was much simpler. People were dying. We had to react. We had to respond. We had to take care of them. Nothing else mattered. Nothing was more important. It was simple. It was hard. Hard to do, but the decisions were much easier. I guess we didn't really understand what was going on, but we understood what we needed to do.